Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Magandang gabi sa distinguished sponsor at sa Office of the President, sa pamilya ng Office of the President. Alam na po naman siguro ng Office of the President na ang aming posisyon dahil ang Office of the President, ang Presidente, ang nag-submit ng budget na ito, willing ang Presidente na sagutin ang mga katanungan hinggil sa budget na ito. And I'm sure the distinguished sponsor, being the chair of the Appropriations Committee, is more than capable of answering questions related to the budget of the President in general. Ang una ko lang pong katanungan, if I may, distinguished sponsor, Your Honor, please. Magkano po ba yung savings ng gobyerno natin, yung overall savings, noong 2013 po?
Mr. Speaker, we have not yet finished the year. It's still early to say. We will have savings or surplus or deficit. But as of now, I understand we are still on the deficit level. That's why we cannot say we have a particular savings, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. I will raise later the DBM circular which impounds savings from various departments not yet spent mid-year. But in any case, I'll just go to the first slide, which is on overall savings. Ang savings po natin noong 2010 ay 46.6 billion. Yung overall savings po natin ng 2011 is 50.5 billion at nung 2012 po ay 56.5 billion din po. More or less po ba, tama po ba yung ating figures dyan with regards to the savings?
I have to check with our figures, Mr. Speaker. May I know if this was taken from an official
Yes,
DBM?
from the NEP of the President submitted every year and from the BESF submitted.
I will check first, Mr. Speaker.
May we? Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we confirm the figures. These are actually the pooling of savings of unreleased appropriations or withdrawn unobligated allotment from completed or discontinued projects, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat po. Tama po ba yung assumption na pag may overall savings, ang Presidente pwede niyang i-realign yung mga savings na yon at i-gastos sa mga iba pang proyekto, o iba pang departments, o iba pang budgetary items dahil savings po yon? Tama po ba yung assumption na yon?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. At the end of the year, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Senate President, the President, and the Chief Justice, they have the authority to use the savings of their respective offices, Mr. Speaker.
Can the Speaker of the House realign the budgets, the savings of the executive departments,
For their
Your Honor?
particular,
For their
within
particular
department, Mr. Speaker.
So the President can realign the savings of the departments, Your Honor. Ngayon po, ang tanong ko, hindi po ba napakalaki ng mga savings na yon na pwede palang ma-budget sana, pero kung titingnan mo, ang regular budget, 674.7 billion noong 2010. Ang savings, 46 billion. 50 billion naman noong 2011, 56 billion naman ng 2012. Matapos po ng deliberasyon ng Kongresong ito, matapos natin pagdebatihan saang budget item pupunta yan, magkano, anong project, saang pupuntang alokasyon, in the end pala, pag mag-savings, baliwala lahat ng pinag-usapan ng Kongresong ito dahil pwede palang i-realign ng Presidente kung saan-saang proyekto ang mga budget na pinag-desisyonan natin on the basis na naging savings po sila. Hindi po ba medyo pag-violate naman yan sa constitutional prerogative ng Kongresong ito na mag-allocate ng budget natin under the Constitution?
Mr. Speaker, to a certain extent, I would agree. However, I think that is the main reason why in the 2014 budget, the reforms is now introduced, that the validity of the 2014 budget will be only for 1 year. It will expire in 1 year. It is a budget as released document, because if we look at in the past, for so many years, there are a lot of savings accumulated at the end of the year. And sometimes, I'm not saying this is the usual practice, but sometimes, sinasadya po na magka-savings yung department para magamit nila at the end of the year. That is why DBM has been encouraging the various departments to spend what they have, to accelerate what they have, to bid out early in the year, so that all these funds can be used and to be efficiently used. And I agree with this reform. That's why we have to approve this 2014 budget, because whatever is itemized in that budget, we should spend at the end of the year. Pag hindi magamit, so
Tama
babalik
po.
sa Treasury, Mr. Speaker.
Maganda po yung nabanggit ng Your Honor, please, na minsan sinasadya. Actually, sa pagtingin ko po, hindi lang minsan. Talaga po ang sinasubmit ng Presidente palagi sa Kongreso is over and above. Mantakin natin po, 46 billion, 50 billion, 56 billion. What is actually needed? Para at the end of the year, pwede niya talagang i-realign yun sa kahit saan. Kasi hindi naman po pwedeng sabihing sinadya ng department kasi Presidente ang nagsasubmit dito. Kung kaya sa pagtingin namin, itong palaki ng savings na ito ay isang anomalous na pag-violate ng karapatan ng Kongresong ito na mag-allocate ng budget dahil in the end, only one person will decide saan pupunta yan, anong proyekto pupuntahan yan, at sino ang beneficiaries niyan. Yun po ang reason namin. Kasi kung papansinin nyo, ang savings noong 2011 is 50.5 billion. Pero tingnan po natin ang transfer to. Ano ibig sabihin ng transfer to? Ni-realign mo at binigay mo doon sa ibang ahensya, ibang proyekto, ibang budgetary items, 44 billion. So ibig sabihin, nag-save ka nga ng 50 billion. So akala ng ibang tao, ay mabuti nakasave pala ang gobyerno ng 50. Hindi nila alam na 44 billion pala ginastos din sa iba't ibang mga items. But this time around, hindi na alam ng Kongreso kung saan ginastos niyan, saan ni-realign yan. Yun po ang isang problemang hinaharap ng Kongresong ito. At yung katulad sa 2012, 56.5 billion ang savings. Pero 46 billion dyan, transfer to. Ibig sabihin, binigay sa kung saan-saan na mga ahensya. So, yan po ay isang patunay lang namin na itong practice ng pag-bloat ng budget para magkaroon ng savings at the end of the year, para ma-realign ng Presidente, is a violation, in fact, of the constitutional mandate of this Congress para i-allocate ang funds at nabaliwala na ang lahat ng deliberasyon natin dito.
Mr. Speaker, hindi naman po sa sinasadya. There are ceilings, there are limits. That's why the absorptive capacity of a particular agency is taken into consideration. Kung gaano ba talaga siya kabilis magpalabas ng pera. That's why I agree to this reform being initiated now by the administration, that the validity of the budget is only good for 1 year. Mr. Speaker, that's for 2010. The figures are in fact smaller. If we go back to the previous years, there were years, hindi ko na lang sabihin kung anong taon, 103 billion, 117 billion, 178 billion, 268 billion, isang taon.
Panahon po yan ng dating Presidente you're referring to. But I guess,
Pero ngayon po, Mr. Speaker, 46 na lang, 50 na lang. 50. You see that the budget is now efficiently used.
Maraming salamat po, Your Honor. Pero ang ibig ko lang sabihin, kung panahon man yan ng dating Presidente Arroyo ang nire-refer ng Office of the President ngayon, it doesn't justify the fact na ituloy natin ang sistema ng bloated budgets at may malaking savings. In any case, nabanggit po ang reforms. At naalala ko po yung isang usapan natin dito, ang sabi niyo po, napakaganda ng zero-based budget policy ng gobyernong Aquino. In fact, kailangan at isa yan sa reforms na ginawa ng gobyernong Aquino, and dapat lang ganun ang ating budget po. No? So, can you please explain for the record, Your Honor, bakit tingin nyo napakaganda ng reform na yan, yung zero-based budget?
Yun po yung unang ginawa kagad pagkaupo po ng new administration sa zero-based budget, at saka yung bagong ginawa ngayon, yung performance-informed budget na introduce.
Ano po ba yung zero-based budget po?
Ang pagkakaintindi ko po, yung you start at zero, no? Line by line, item by item, you have to justify your entries, you have to justify yung ipapasok nyo po na budget.
So, ibig sabihin, zero ang budget ng isang ahensya, i-justify niya ang kanyang needs o pangangailangan hanggang sa umakyat na yung budget niya, at least sigurado natin na yung budget niya is yun talagang kailangan niya. Yun po ang zero-based budget.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Tama po ba yung ganong tipo ng budgeting po?
I agree. Tama po yun. Kasi you will really know kung magkano ang kailangan. Kasi if i-base mo sa historical, sometimes hindi na kinakailangan, nandoon pa rin yung historical, sinasama lang.
Zero-based budget pa rin po ba ngayon ang policy ng gobyernong Aquino?
Yes, we are still in the zero-based budgeting. We're in nagpipresent po lahat ng agencies as stricto po.
Yes, but if you notice, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, marami pong lump sum ang budget na ito. Hindi po ba tama yon? Ang special purpose funds, maraming lump sum dyan. Sa program funds, lump sum. Tapos titingnan po natin yung savings na yan. Yan ba'y isang zero-based budget? Kung talagang bawat need ng ahensya ang binabudgetan lang, dapat nagastos po yan at hindi po yan nagiging savings at the end of the year. Pero kung titingnan po natin, maraming lump sum sa budget na ito na in the end, hindi siya zero-based budget. Kasi kung zero-based budget siya, hindi kailangan i-lump sum. Ang sabi niyo naman po kanina, Your Honor, itemized po yung zero-based budget, hindi po ba?
Yes, yes, Mr. Speaker.
So how do we explain why the Aquino government now is having a lot of lump sums and has abandoned the zero-based budget policy before?
Mr. Speaker, there are particular expenditures na hindi naman po pwede nating ilagay sa isang particular department because there are 1 or 2 or 3 departments are involved. There are many, I would say, broad-based po yung expenditure. Like, for example, Calamity Fund. We cannot foresee kung ilang bagyo darating. We cannot come up with that line by line natin. Let's say, Bagyo 1, Bagyo 2, Bagyo 3, no? So we have to put this a kind of a lump sum fund, like contingency fund. Hindi natin alam yung contingencies na mangyayari. So nandyan po yan, naka-contingency fund, naka-lump sum po siya.
Ang sabi ng Office of the President during the budget hearing sa komite, ang budgetary support to government corporation is a lump sum amount. Magkano? 46 billion pesos. Ang ALGO is a lump sum amount, 19 billion pesos. Ang Calamity Fund, 7 billion pesos. So hindi lang Calamity Fund, mabuti kung Calamity Fund lang. Napakarami. May Contingent Fund na 1 billion, may DepEd SBP na 1 billion, may e-government fund na 2.4 billion, siyempre andyan ang PDAF, may feasibility and program fund, lahat. In fact, ang total pa lang ng special purpose funds na inamin ng Office of the President ay 310 billion. Pwede naman siguro nating sabihin may ilang budget dyan sa budget natin na hindi pwedeng i-itemize, pero hindi naman ganito, na lampas pa sa regular budget natin ang lump sum amounts. Yun lang naman po ang aming punto dito kasi the more lump sums in the budget, the more power of the President to allocate these funds on his own personal discretion. at hindi na dahil sa kongresong ito. So in any case, Mr. President, Your Honor, please, I would just like to deliver that point. I would like to go to another issue, Mr. Chair. Ang issue ay nabanggit ni Presidente Aquino nung SONA. Ang sabi niya, tataasan na natin ang fare ng MRT. Kasi daw, ang sabi niya, ang laki ng government subsidy dyan. And in fact, ang bigay sa amin ng DOTC, balik lang sa previous, no? Ang bigay ng DOTC, sabi niya, ang sinasubsidize daw ng gobyerno is about 41.5 pesos per passenger. So, dahil napakalaki ng subsidy ng gobyerno, dapat naman pasanin na ng taong bayan ang pamasahe sa MRT. So, ang tanong po naman namin sa Presidente, paano niya nasabi na napakalaki ng subsidy? Ngayon, tingnan po natin yung next slide. Ito po ang explanation sa amin ng next slide. Ang ginagastos daw ng gobyerno is 9,413,866,431. Yan daw ang total na ginagastos ng MRT. Kung kaya, sabi dito sa data ng DOTC, kung i-divide mo yan ng 100...
Mr. Speaker, before the gentleman from Bayan Muna can finish his long presentation, may I suggest that since DOTC will be presenting again their budget later, because I'm very sure they are very familiar, very particular with that particular budget. Although a while ago, earlier, I agree with the statement that the Office of the President has indeed overall supervision. My good friend Neri, I agree to that. But you know how the budget process is being made, no? The budget is being prepared by the DBCC, Development Budget Coordinating Committee. It's composed of the DBM, the DOF, the NEDA, and the Central Bank, and they formulate, they finish the budget, and it's being presented to the President. The President approves and submits the budget to Congress. So may I request my good friend Neri to Congressman Colmenares to present the question to the DOTC later, because I really don't have the technical capability to answer those.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Sid. No? Una, nabanggit na namin ito sa OP committee hearing na pag pumunta kayo dito, since you are the ones submitting the budget, you should know kung ano ang mga particulars ng departments nyo. No? Pangalawa, lahat ng savings ng mga departments pupunta sa OP, siguro naman may responsibilidad at accountability ang OP sa pag-alam. Parang ang hirap naman na pag-savings pupunta sa Presidente, pero yung specific na ginagawa ng department, hindi na alam ng Presidente. Thirdly, binanggit ni Presidente Aquino yan sa SONA. So, ibig sabihin, alam niya. Alam niya ang dahilan bakit kailangan tanggalin ang subsidy at bakit kailangan ipasa sa taong bayan ang pagtaas. Kung kaya po, we really expect the Office of the President, because it was even mentioned in his SONA at binanggit niya pa actually yung actual na subsidy. Sabi niya, ito ang sinasubsidize ng gobyerno. Kung kaya dapat nating taasan ang fare. So I would also beg the indulgence of the honorable distinguished sponsor. I'm sure the OP has control over this, and the OTC is here. In fact, nakahilera ako sa pagtanong sa DOTC, pero in order to facilitate para hindi na humaba doon, sabi ko nga kanina kay Congressman Biolago, na hindi na ako magtanong sa iyo para hindi na humaba sa DOTC. So, is the distinguished sponsor willing to answer that question? Na ito naman po galing sa DOTC eh. Sabi ng DOTC, 9 billion pesos ang gastos ng DOTC, ng MRT3. Kung kaya, yan, ganun kalaki ang ating yung expenses dyan.
Mr. Speaker, I really would want to answer. However, the figures could be best be validated by the DOTC
Sige.
group, Mr. Speaker.
In that case, Mr. Speaker, I will have to go back and reserve my slot again in the DOTC budget. Pero pansinin nyo lang po, kaya daw malaki ang gastos, kaya sinasubsidize ng gobyerno, meron siyang 5.5 billion pesos na BLT payments. Alam po ba ng Office of the President ano ang ibig sabihin? Bakit kasama sa gastos natin ang BLT payments na yan na napakalaki? Kasi kung titingnan nyo po yung unang part, fare box collection, 2.136 billion pesos. Yun ang kinikita ng MRT sa mga nagsumasakay doon. Tapos may mga non-rail revenue sila. Pag i-add mo yan, yung total nakita ng MRT is 2.163 billion pesos. Ano ang operating expense niya? 1.8 billion pesos, 1.822. So kung titingnan mo, kita ang MRT. 2.163 ang revenue, ang gastos niya, 1.822 billion, may lamang siya. It's earning. Ang problema, may dinagdag na hindi namin maintindihan, BLT payments na 5 billion. Ang dagdag pa po, may karugtong taxes, duties, and fees na 2 billion, na parang ang kita pala ng concessionaire, ang income tax, kung ano pa mga taxes na binabayaran din pala ng gobyerno at ng taong bayan. Kaya lumobo po yung total expenses. So ang tanong namin sa Office of the President at kay Presidente Aquino, tama ba yan? Actually, hindi kailangan isubsidize ng gobyerno ang MRT kasi kumikita kung pagbabatayan mo lang ang operating expense at ang kanyang total revenues. Hindi po ba? Yeah, Your Honor, please. Just the principle lang po. Hindi naman kailangan na i-explain yung data. Di ba ang prinsipyo, kung titingnan nyo lang ang revenue at operating expense, hindi po lugi ang MRT. Doon tayo malulugi pag babayaran na natin yung taxes nila. Babayaran na natin yung BLT payments nila. Kasi ang laki ng lobo 7 billion agad Kaya yung 9 billion na total expense niya, lumobo pala yan dahil doon sa dalawang items. Would the distinguished sponsor, as just a principle, agree na ang total revenue sana kaya niyang gastusan ang operating expense? Your Honor, please.
Mr. Speaker, we will take note of these figures. However, we want to be sure. We have no way of
Thank you.
validating right now.
I agree.
I hope the gentleman would understand.
Yes, no problem.
My good friend there is.
Thank you. I'll just go to the next slide. Yung previous slide pala. Yan. Ang tanong pa namin dyan sa MRT is this. Pansinin nyo naman po, 28 billion ang total project cost. Magkano ang equity ng kumpanyang concessionaire sa MRT? 7.9 billion. Ano ang ginawa niya? Hindi niya naman kaya palang tustusan ng 28.3 billion. Umutang siya ng 20 billion. So parang sabi namin, kung 7 billion lang naman palang kapital, bakit hindi na lang gobyerno natin ang nagkapital niyan? Bakit pa natin binigay sa MRTC? Bakit pa pumayag ang Office of the President na magkaroon ng ganong kontrata? 7 billion lang yung equity niya, niloan niya ang 20 billion at ang 20 billion na yan, binabayaran natin ngayon yan. Kung kaya, sabi namin, mabuti sana kung 28 billion ang project cost, ang equity niya mga 22 billion, 25 billion, pwedeng sabihin ng gobyerno, wala tayong kapital kailangan natin yung MRTC equity kasi kulang ang pera natin. Pero kung ganun lang naman pala na 7.98 billion ang kapital, kayang-kaya po ng gobyernong yan. May overall savings nga tayo, sabi natin palagi Ang nabanggit nga ng distinguished sponsor kanina, tag 236 billion ang savings. Di po ba? Parang hindi maintindihan ng taong bayan, 28 billion na ang project cost, tapos hindi natin kayang gastusan. In any case, you delivered your point naman po, distinguished sponsor, na hindi nyo linya talaga yan, so I will just reserve it for the DOTC company. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Ito pong sa budget ngayon, yan, alam nyo na po ito as the chair. There is a risk management program of 30 billion pesos. Ang sabi po dyan sa risk management program, it is 30 billion pesos. Never po siya nag-exista, not in any budget before 2014. This is a new item na hindi namin maintindihan. According to the special provision, this is in order to manage the government's fiscal risk and enhance the country's credibility among potential PPP proponents. So the amount of 30 billion pesos is authorized under Purpose 7, next slide please, to cover commitments made by the national government to concession agreements relative to PPP projects, subject to pertinent rules. Ang tanong ko po, ito po ba, at ito po yung sagot sa amin ng tinanong, ito po ay para sa regulatory risks na sinasuffer ng ating mga PPP concessionaires. Tama po ba yan?
Mr. Speaker, let me just focus on the special provision for the risk management program. In order to manage the national government's fiscal risk and enhance the country's credibility among potential public-private partnership proponents, the amount of 30 million pesos is authorized under Purpose 7 shall be used for the government's risk management program to cover commitments made and obligations of the national government in the concession agreements relative to PPP projects, subject to the pertinent provisions of rules, laws, rules, and regulations.
So, tama. So, ang banggit po dati, para yan sa regulatory risks.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Tama
I
po.
understand we took this up during the
Yes.
debates on the general principles when...
Nais po kasi namin sana na bawiin ito ng Office of the President sa budget. Nais po naman, kasi ano po ba yan? Ang ibig sabihin ng regulatory risk, gustong magtaas halimbawa ng SLEX at NLEX ng toll rates nila. Ngayon, iti-TRO sila ng Supreme Court dahil unjust ang kanilang pagtaas. Ang sabi dito, sige, na-TRO kayo, hindi kayo kumita, di bale, babayaran kayo namin. Doon kukunin ang pondo. Magtataas ang Maynilad at Manila Water ng water rates na hindi na grant ng MWSS dahil unjust ang kanilang pag-impose ng mas mataas na rates. Ano ang sabi ng gobyerno sa program na ito? Don't worry, meron kaming 30 billion pesos na pambayad sa iyo. Hindi po ba napaka-unjust ng provision na yan? Akala ng taong bayan ay salamat, hindi tumaas ang presyo ng kuryente o ng tubig, pero in the end, hindi niya alam siya rin pala ang magbabayad nun through the risk management fund kasi part yan ng kanyang taxes sa gobyerno. Hindi po ba napaka-unjust ng ganong tipong budget at napakalaki pa po ng nilaan nating pondo dyan?
Mr. Speaker, this is just part of the unprogrammed fund, and again, as earlier discussed, this cannot be released unless there are the collections of the exceed the target revenues, or when there are new loans that are being perfected, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat po. In the last 10 years, distinguished sponsor, Your Honor, please, has there been a time, has there been a year na hindi nagastos ang unprogrammed funds? I think there is no year. In every year, all the unprogrammed funds are spent. Whether 100% or 80% nasi-spend po ang unprogrammed funds. And I would stand correct, I would really be corrected if you can point the periods kung saan hindi nagastos ang unprogrammed funds. Ang problema po natin dito, palaging sinasabi ng Presidente, huwag kayong mag-alala ang program funds. Standby lang naman yan eh. Hindi naman yan magagastos if the revenue collections, unless the revenue collections exceed the target. Sabi namin, never pa naman nag-exceed ang ating revenue collection sa target. Palaging mababa ang nakinikita ng customs at ng BIR. Paano nagastos ang unprogrammed fund? Ayun po pala may karugtong. Unless and also if there is a realization of loans. Ibig sabihin, kahit hindi pala naabot ang revenue targets na palaging sinasagot sa amin, pag naka-loan pala ang gobyerno, yung unprogrammed fund na yon ay magagastos. I am very sure, Your Honor, please, na wala kayong masite na period na hindi nagastos ang unprogrammed fund. Kung meron man kayong masabi na year, I would really like to see that, but for a long period of time po.
There were indeed releases, Mr. Speaker, but these funds were released only when these three conditions are met.
Yes.
Again,
So,
yes,
ibig
Mr.
sabihin po, standby siya, pero taon-taon actually ginagastos siya. Yun po ang isang ulit sa Kongreso. For me, it's another violation of our congressional congressional power over the budget. We approved the unprogrammed funds on the basis na standby siya. Iyon pala, talagang mangungutang ang gobyerno para naman magastos ang unprogrammed fund. Yun na naman po ang punto ko na hindi rin tayo basta maniwala sa OP pag sinabi niya, don't worry, standby lang yan. Kasi taon-taon nagagastos yung unprogrammed funds na yan. But actually, dahil yan sa mga utang na nare-realize ng gobyerno. In any case, distinguished sponsor, yun lang naman ang message ko. Again, another presidential discretion over the budget. Next slide, please. Ang tanong ko po, DBM Circular 541. Ang sabi ng DBM Circular, ito, OP talaga to, no? The Department of Budget. Sabi ng DBM Circular 541, ang lahat ng mga unobligated allotments, ibig sabihin, yung mga pondong inapprove ng kongresong ito, inilagay na sa mga departments, nandyan na yan lahat, pag hindi mo daw ma-obligate mid-year, iwi-withdraw ng DBM. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo na siya pwedeng gastusin unless, sabi ng DBM, dito daw niya gagastusin. So, ibig sabihin, halimbawa, isang agency ay, let's say, DepEd, may 10 billion pesos at mid-year, 6 billion lang ang nagastos niya, may 4 billion siyang unobligated allotments. Sabi ng circular na yan, i-withdraw yan ng DBM, i-centralize sa DBM. Ngayon, ang sabi diyan, paano yan gagastusin? Ang sabi diyan sa circular ng DBM, i-realign siya to cover additional funding for other existing programs and projects of the agencies. Tama po ba yan na ang mga unobligated allotments i-realign ng DBM to fund existing programs and projects of other agencies?
Mr. Speaker, that is really intended to encourage the various agencies to spend what they have to increase their absorption capacity in order that they should as early as possible release their funds.
Tama po. Mukhang ganun nga po. Parang ang sabi ng DBM, kung hindi nyo naman pala magastos yan, di kunin na namin mid-year. Pero ang problema po dyan in the first place, bakit siya sinubmit dito sa Kongreso, hindi naman pala kayang i-absorb. Pangalawa, matapos ulit ng debate natin dito sa budget kung saang ahensya pupunta, mid-year pala, kukunin ng DBM, pwede niya nang i-realign sa kung saang ahensya. Hindi po ba violation na naman yan ng congressional power over the purse? Parang debate tayong ilagay dyan, pero yun pala ni-realign niya mid-year. Pero ito pa po yung problematic sa atin. Look at 5.7.3. Saan daw gagastusin ng amount? Very important po yan. It will be used to augment existing programs and projects of any agency and to fund priority programs and projects not considered in the budget but expected to be started or implemented during the current year. Hindi po ba paglabag yan ng konstitusyon? Hindi po ba paglabag yan ng congressional power over the purse? Bakit i-realign ng presidente, ng Office of the President, to fund a priority program and project not even considered in the budget? Ang alam ko sa konstitusyon, only those appropriated by Congress ang pwedeng gastusan ng public funds. But if a certain project and program is not even in the 2012 budget, and in fact, hindi pa siya nasimulan, kasi to be started or implemented pa lang during the current year, wouldn't that be unconstitutional? Wouldn't that violate the congressional power over the purse, Your Honor, please?
Mr. Speaker, I think the main word there is the word to augment, is augmentation. By augmentation, we mean there is an existing appropriation that will be augmented.
Yes,
That
Your
is the
Honor.
purpose, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I heard that answer the first committee hearing. But isn't that covered already by 5.2, 7.2? Realigned to additional funding for other existing programs. Tingnan ang 5.73. There are two fundings there. One, used to augment existing program. And two, to fund priority programs and projects not considered. Hindi po talaga, malinaw po yan. Hindi siya existing, about to be started pa lang po or implemented during the current year. Hindi po ba? There is no way it can be interpreted otherwise. Because even the program and the budget was not considered in the 2012 budget. Hindi po pala natin napag-usapan. Hindi po pala na-consider. Wala sa NEP, wala sa GAA, wala rin sa GAB, sa bill natin. So, that is another trampling of our power over the purse, Your Honor, by the office of the President. Hindi po ba? Dahil, yung kanina nga, sabi ko, pinagdebatihan natin, pinagdesisyonan natin, i-realign lang pala ng isang tao. Pero ito, hindi nga natin nadebatihan, hindi nga natin nadesisyonan, wala siya sa budget, pero ginagastusan pa rin ng public funds. Hindi po ba violation naman yan ng ating congressional power over the purse? And it's unconstitutional. The Constitution says public funds can only be spent on items appropriated by Congress. There is no appropriation. It's not part of the budget. Hindi po ba, Your Honor, please?
We will take note of that, Mr. Speaker, but my understanding is that when we had, during the budget hearing, when this topic was asked to the budget secretary, he emphasized the word only to augment existing
klaro,
items, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat po, pero klaro, makita naman ng lahat, kahit hindi po abogado, can understand that. But in any case, parang naging off-budget item siya. Parang malampaya fund siya, kasi wala siya sa budget So, ang problema, may desisyon ng Kongreso sa budget, pero hindi pumunta doon. In any case, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to go to the next slide. Yan lang po ang ating sinasabi kanina. Napakalaki ng mga pondo na hindi man lang kontrolado ng Kongresong ito. Tingnan nyo po, yung expenditure ng 2011, 1.6 trillion, no? Out of the 1.6 trillion, 767 billion dyan ay regular budget ng mga ahensya. DepEd, CHED, lahat. Pero tingnan po natin, yung total special purpose funds at automatic appropriations, yung mga ganyan po, ang approval at release niyan, walang pakialam ang Kongreso, yung SPF at auto appropriation. The only person who can approve that under the GAA is the President. Tingnan nyo naman po kung ano ang total ng ang in-approve o nire-realign o ginagastos ng Presidente. 994 billion in the 2011 budget. Mas malaki pa siya sa department budgets na inaprubahan ng Kongresong ito. Alam naman natin po, special purpose funds, bawat isang pondo dyan may kasabi, upon the approval of the President. So, hindi natin control yan Yung 2012 budget po, 1.8 trillion ang budget, 869 sa department, pero tingnan nyo yung total ng presidential port, 1.1 trillion po yan. Hindi natin control yung SPF na yan. Tingnan nyo naman ang 2013, 2 trillion pero 982 billion ang department budget, 1.1 trillion na naman yung SPF. Yan po ang sinasabi ko sa Office of the President na yung kongresong ito, hayaan mo naman magdesisyon. Kung ang special purpose funds mas malaki pa sa regular budget at ang automatic appropriation na walang pakialam ang gobyernong ito, hindi naman po ata tama na yun ang budgeting process natin. Wouldn't the distinguished sponsor agree?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to disagree at this point, considering that a special purpose fund and automatic appropriations would include the debt service, which is automatic appropriations, and that's a big chunk of the entire budget. We would want to change that. However, there are existing laws on that. The ERA, it's automatic appropriation. That's about 40% of the internal revenue allotments. That's a very big amount, Mr. Speaker. So I don't think it's really that big that would be considered under the discretion of the executive department, because even the president cannot control those funds because it's automatically appropriated, Mr. Speaker.
Tingnan po natin, yung SPF po dyan, napakalaki ang automatic appropriation, debt servicing. Beyond sa congressional approval yan. Hindi na po yan matouch ng Kongreso, ang approval niyan, at siniset yan ng Malacanang. Hindi ba natin pwedeng itong mga special purpose funds at automatic appropriations, hindi ba tamang sabihin beyond ito sa control at approval ng ating ng Kongreso? Hindi po ba tamang sabihin na ang special purpose funds at ibang pang mga items dyan, hindi na talaga natin yan pwedeng abutin dahil presidente lang ang may poder na i-approve o i-disapprove yan. Yun na naman po ang point namin. Bakit hindi siya talaga i-itemize? Bakit hindi talaga siya ilagay? Maganda po yung sinabi niyong zero-based budget. Bakit talagang totally nasa control ng presidente ang malalaking pondong ito at wala nang say ang kongresong ito kung paano siya gagastusin? Yun na naman po ang point namin . Wala naman kaming sinasabing i-withhold mo yung isang item o hindi i-withhold. Ang punto po namin dito, kongreso naman dapat ang may karapatan dyan instead of one person. Yun na naman po ang point namin dito na halos mas malaki pa. Kilatis tayo ng kilatis ng budget ng DepEd, ng CHED, ng DND, pero actually nakakalampas sa atin itong malalaking pondo na beyond na sa ating control.
I just want to make some comments, Mr. Speaker, because for 2011, for example, the figures are not that as presented because, like for example, special purpose fund in 2011 is only 159 billion, and of which 145 billion were released. All the others were automatic appropriations in those figures. Automatic appropriations is 711 billion. So we cannot do anything with retirement and life insurance premiums. They are being automatically appropriated. We have to provide that to our workers, to our employees, to our laborers. Internal revenue allotment, we have to provide that because that's automatic appropriation. Pension, grants, donations, special accounts in the general fund.
Special, ano po yan? Special?
Special account in the general fund.
Ano po yung special account? Hindi ko napansin
Nandito po
yan
sa automatic appropriation.
Ano po ba yan?
We will provide you later po. But
may we know po kung para saan yung automatic appropriation ng special accounts?
we will provide later. But I think the details are all here in the automatic appropriations. Then tax refund, net lending, interest payments, tax expenditures, they are all automatic appropriations, Mr. Speaker.
I know po. Salamat po. Pero yan sabi po namin, yung automatic appropriation, example po, inabanggit yung special account. Ano po ba yan? Bakit siya automatic appropriation? Bakit siya tanggal sa poder ng kongresong ito na i-disburse?
Mr. Speaker, special accounts in the general fund are funds whereby proceeds of specific revenue measures and grants are earmarked by law for specific priority projects are recorded.
Ano po
These
example
are
niyan?
earmark funds, Your Honor.
Ano pong example niyan?
MBUC, for example, Mr. Speaker.
MVUC is one example.
Earmarked already.
Okay. Yung Malampaya Fund po ba kasama rin ba dyan?
I think they have
Hindi siya kasama siguro, off-budget siya. So, magkano
a
po
portion only, Mr. Speaker.
magkano po ulit yung special accounts natin na automatically appropriated?
We will get the figures, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For 2014, Mr. Speaker, it's 21 billion.
21 billion. Noong 2011 po.
20 figures you have here for 2011, we will recheck, Mr. Speaker.
In any case, that is precisely lang my point po. I don't think na walang control ang Kongreso dyan. But in any case, I don't think we will resolve the issue, Your Honor, distinguished sponsor. Ang message ko lang balik ulit, dapat naman may control ang Kongresong ito sa ilalim ng konstitusyon. Pero in any case, I'd like to go to the next slide, please. Malampaya po, natanong ko na ito pero hindi ko na ulitin. Yung Malampaya po, magkano po ba gusto ko lang po i-confirm nyo muna. 173 billion po siya, ang total na naibigay. Ang natira po ngayon is about 132 billion. Tama po ba yan?
We will check the figures first, Mr. Speaker.
But in any case, Mr. Speaker, ang intindi kasi ng karamihan sa Malampaya Fund, dapat gastusin yan sa energy-related projects for the development of the energy industry. Hindi po ba ganun naman ang purpose niyan? Siguro kung gastusin mo dyan para ma-develop ang energy industry, siguro nakatulong yan sa pagpababa ng presyo ng kuryente. Siguro nakatulong yan para dahan-dahan hindi naman ganon kalaganap ang brownout sa Pilipinas. Yun naman pong expectation natin, 173 billion yan. Napakalaking tulong siguro yan sa taong bayan sa pagpababa ng presyo ng kuryente. Pero pansinin po natin ang gastos ng Malampaya Fund. Hindi po siya ginastos sa pag-develop ng energy industry. In fact, ngayon, I asked the question, previously, 900 million sa Malampaya Fund na gastos doon sa DAR at involved sa Napoles scam. So, for example, yung US Coast Guard Hamilton, 423 million po yan, hindi po ba? Yung pagbili ng cutter na yan.
Mr. Speaker, if you would notice from the presentation, you would see that it is also energy-related projects for 2011.
Bakit po? Yung pitap po ba energy-related siya?
Yes. It was Pantawid Pasada, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. How could it be energy-related, Your Honor? It's giving dole-outs to...
Assistance, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, it's an assistance. How could it develop the energy industry, Your Honor, please? I really hope that the Office of the President will stop from claiming that the Malampaya Fund was spent on energy-related projects. Namigay ng assistance sa mga tricycle driver. That is developing the energy. Makatulong po ba yan para sa pagbawas-bawas naman sa brownout sa buong Pilipinas? Hindi po. Yung pagbili po ba ng US Coast Guard Hamilton, makapagbawas ba yan sa presyo ng kuryente? Hindi po. That's why I'm very surprised with the consistent harping of the Office of the President, kami, ibahin nyo kami. Hindi namin yan dinaan sa DAR, energy-related. How can by any stretch of imagination, Your Honor, the US Coast Guard Hamilton be an energy-related project, Your Honor, please?
Mr. Speaker, yung assistance po sa mga tricycle drivers, this is a kind of assistance to observe the fluctuations in the changing of the prices of oil. And yun naman pong Hamilton, Coast Guard Hamilton, is to protect the areas that's being that's our sources of oil, gas, natural gas. So that's
Siyempre
intended
po,
to protect that, Mr.
lahat
Speaker.
naman ng bibiling armaments, kahit bumili si Presidente Aquino ng 10 missiles, pwede niya naman sabihin na it's also to protect the area. Ayun lang po, medyo stretch na kasi yun eh. Parang pilit po ba na energy-related yung pagbili ng barko. Kasi sa totoo lang, pwede niya namang sabihin, bumili kami nga ng missiles to defend, di ba? Siguro yung US Coast Guard Hamilton, sa pag-ikot-ikot niya sa Pilipinas, makakadaan siya dyan siguro sa Manampaya, pero along the way to Visayas, but that doesn't justify it as an energy-related project. In any case, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, please, I'd like to go to the next slide. Tingnan nyo po yun, 423 million yung Coast Guard cutter, napansin natin kanina. Ito pong pansinin po natin ang last item, transfer, dry docking, hull maintenance of Coast Guard cutter ship. Yung dry docking niya is 880 million pesos ang ginastos sa Malampaya ni Presidente Aquino. Doble siya po ng presyo ng cutter. Ang cutter po was 423 million pesos. Ang dry docking niya is 880 million pesos. Hindi po ba medyo overpriced yung dry docking na yan ng Office of the President?
The Hamilton cutter was given at a very much discounted price, Mr. Speaker.
It was given at a very so hindi
Discounted
overpriced yung dry docking, mura yung barko. Is that correct, Mr. Chair?
That's why malaki yung dry docking because murang-mura yung barko po.
Gaano na po ba katagal yung barkong binili natin yan?
Dry docking is for repairing maintenance.
And dry docking also includes the repairs and maintenance in order
Yes,
to...
I know.
Well, yes,
I know po.
Watching.
Ang alam ko po, yung cutter na yan is 46 years old. "46-year-old ship." Ang sabi natin, to defend our, ano yun? How can we even pretend that it can defend our territory? Parang bumili tayo ng kotse na linggo-linggo na lang, tinatalyer natin kung ganun palang explanation. Mantakin nyo po, almost 1 billion pesos bawat taon. Hindi
Mr.
naman...
Speaker,
Yes.
we cannot afford a brand new frigate. It's about 5 billion.
It's about 5 billion.
A brand new
Yes.
one, Mr. Speaker.
Pero kung bilangin nyo po yung yearly na 880, in 5 years time, nakabili na tayo.
10 billion.
Di ba? Halos 880 kasi is almost 1 billion. But in any case po, yun lang naman ang point ko. Pag isang tao lang ang nagdidesisyon, gusto niyang bumili ng barko, bibili siya. May approval ba ang kongresong ito? Wala. Gusto niyang mamigay ng pasada, he can do it. May approval ba kinonsulta niya ba ang kongresong ito? Hindi po. Yun na naman po ang aking punto doon sa sinabi kong dapat naman ay ituparin naman ang constitutional provision on congressional releases. Dapat po ma-realign yung mga lump sums na yan sa budget, ma-itemize yan, ma-realign sa basic social services, sa general fund. Last few slides na lang po. I'm sure I would really like to also end this. Next slide po na lang. SARO po. SARO, ito po yung ni-raise ko sa DAR. Sabi ng DAR, hindi niya alam. This is a SARO for 100 million pesos issued upon the approval of the Office of the President to DAR. Ang total po nito, 6 po na SARO to, and I'm sure you are familiar with that because it was raised previously. Ang total niya ay 475 billion pesos. Sabi ng DAR, hindi naman namin kailangan yan. May budget naman kami. Nagtaka kami, bakit kami binigyan yan? Sinoli namin yan. Nagkaroon ng negative SARO, yung 100 million pesos na yan. Issued po yan December 6, 2011 sa DAR. Approved ng Presidente at nakalagay naman to, this release is in accordance with OP approval. Ano po itong pondong ito? Kasi nakapagtataka po, kung hindi pala ni-request ng DAR, hindi naman pala kailangan ng DAR, bakit binigyan ang DAR ng ganong kalaking halaga po?
Mr. Speaker, we were informed that DAR informed us that a negative SARO was already issued to cover
Negative SARO, meaning
Yes.
to say, binawi na ng
Binawi na po,
Malacanang.
binawi yan.
So, nag-approve ang presidente ng 475 million pesos. Halos kalahating bilyon. Tapos, sinuli ng ahensyang binigyan niya. What is the reason for this? At para kanino po yung mga SARO na yan? I'm sure the Office of the President would know because it was approved by the Office of the President. Your Honor, please.
Mr. Speaker, I think DAR has already taken that up during their...
Yes po, at ang sabi ng DAR po, hindi nila alam yan kasi galing yan sa OP. Kaya nga nila sinole kasi sabi nila, hindi naman namin kailangan, tapos napakalaking pera na medyo amorphous siya. Galing po ba sa Malampaya Fund yan?
We will check, Mr. Speaker. We will.
But the Office of the President, Your Honor, please, I'm sure the Office of the President is prepared to answer questions like this during budget deliberation. After all, this is the spending of the budget approved by this Congress in 2011. So sana naman po ma-explain nyo sa Kongresong ito, nag-approve kami ng budget nyo, pero meron kayong 475 million na pinamigay sa isang ahensya na hindi niya pala kailangan. And in fact, later on, it was admitted by the Office of the President na, binawi nga namin yan. In the first place, Your Honor, yun na nga ang sakit eh. Yun ang sakit ng presidential pork eh. Hindi mo alam kung saan kailangan. It's according to the decision of a single person. Yung MRT kanina, we could have spent for that. May savings tayo. But now, may mga binibigay tayong kalahating bilyon para lang sa isang ahensyang hindi niya kailangan. So may we know, Your Honor, what is that for?
We will check, Mr. Speaker, but the latest we have is that it was withdrawn, Mr. Speaker.
I know, yes, thank you. Pero, the fact that it was withdrawn actually stresses the point na pag isang tao ang nagdesisyon, mali-mali nga. Mabuti sana po kung mali-mali lang, pero kung may irregularities involved po dito, remember, the 900 million peso Malampaya Fund under investigation by COA now is of the same nature. Binigay siya sa DAR, hindi daw ni-request ng DAR, approve lang ng Presidente, tapos late, hindi alam nila kung saang beneficiary, sino ang mga nag-request, yun, nangyari sa 900 million. So, may we know from the Office of the President, I will not want to belabor our colleague on this issue, can you give us a report on this, Mr. President, Your Honor, kung para saan ito at ano po ang purpose nito? At sino po ang nag-request nito? May we get that assurance so that I can go to my last question?
We will check our records, Mr. Speaker.
And can you also give me a copy of that?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Your Honor, please. Last slide na lang. Actually, tanong ko lang, dito po ba sa GAA merong impoundment provision in the sense na ang presidente ay pwedeng mag-impound, pwedeng mag-reduce, pwedeng mag-withhold ng approval sa isang budgetary item. Tama po. I mean, it's a given conclusion na sa budget, dati na at hanggang ngayon, siyempre may karapatan ang presidente according to the GAA na mag-impound ng budget if under the GAA in accordance with the rules and regulation issued by the DBM. So, tama po ba yan? Just to confirm, actually this is a confirmed statement, pero just to confirm, tama po ba na may ganong provision po?
Mr. Speaker, there is such a provision. We're just checking our...
Salamat po.
Figures.
Basahin ko na lang pong Section 60.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
There is also a provision, prohibition against retention, pero ang sabi dito, fund releases from appropriations provided in this act, meaning the GAA, shall be transmitted to the agency concerned. Dapat lang naman i-transmit sa ahensya kung saan ang pondo dapat. No retention or deduction will be allowed, no? Except, so hindi pwedeng i-reduce ng presidente o or upon the direction of the President of the Philippines. So, ibig sabihin, kung i-direct pala ng Presidente, pwede niyang i-withhold, pwede niyang i-reduce, pwede niya siyempre i-impound, according to the GA itself. I'm reading Section 60, Your Honor, please.
Section 60, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Prohibition against retention or deduction of funds. Fund releases from appropriations provided in this Act shall be transmitted to the agency concerned subject to the applicable special and general provisions and on budgeting rules and regulations. No retention or deduction as reserves or overhead shall be made, except as authorized by law or the special or general provisions in this Act or upon direction of the President of the Philippines.
Salamat po. Upon the direction of the President. Again, hindi po ba pag-violate yan ng congressional authority? Nagpasa tayo ng budget, pwede niya palang i-reduce, pwede niyang i-withhold ang approval, pwede niyang ibigay, pwede niyang i-impound. Upon the direction of the President. Hindi po ba medyo hindi naman ata tama yan sa kongresong ito na matapos nating pinagdebatihan ang budget, pwede naman palang i-withhold o i-redirect ng Presidente. Hindi po ba?
That is an authority given by Congress if it will be approved by the House, Mr. Speaker.
So kung kasi inauthorize natin,
Yes, Mr.
kasi nilagay natin ang provision yan, so pwedeng gawin ng Presidente.
Yes,
Tama po.
Yes, Mr.
Hindi po ba natin pwedeng bawiin yon? Hindi po ba ang kongresong ito may karapatan at may poder na tanggalin yon? Para hindi mag-reduce ang Presidente, hindi niya ma-withhold, hindi niya pwedeng ibigay sa DAR ang mga pondong inaprubahan natin unless the President asks for the permission or approval of this Congress. Hindi po ba tama yon? I'd like to show you the next slide kasi may poder naman pala tayo na maglagay ng gusto nating sa GAA. Would you agree, Your Honor, please, ito sa proposal na on the period of amendments, pwede naman nating sabihin na ito po ang phrase natin. Hindi na natin papayagan ang Presidente na mag-impound o mag-reduce, sabihin natin sa GAA, Section 60 and Section 59, whenever the President, upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management, determines that all or part of any budget appropriation will not be required, or that such budget appropriation should be rescinded, or whenever all or part of any budget appropriation is to be reserved from obligation, the President shall transmit to both houses of Congress a request for its approval. Ibig sabihin po, ilagay na natin na sige, pwede ka naman mag-impound, Mr. President, upon the recommendation of the DBM. Pero humingi ka muna ng approval ng kongresong ito na nagpas ng pondong yan. Hindi, pwede po ba yan? Amenable po ba ang Office of the President na suportahan po yung ganyang amendment?
The reply will come from the chairman of the committee, Mr. Speaker. At the proper time, we will be passing our amendments.
Yes.
And the committee will be coming up with our amendments. And if the gentleman so at the proper time, he can make his own individual amendments, Mr. Speaker.
I know po. Alam ko po na mga period of amendment. Ang tinatanong ko lang po ngayon, as a matter of principle, hindi po ba tama na magpaalam muna ang Presidente sa atin kung i-impound niya ang budget, i-reallocate, i-withhold niya? Hindi po ba tama yan na yung provision na yan?
The mere fact that the President submitted this to us would mean that he is asking our permission. It would be on the House to give this permission or not, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Pero ang problema po, matapos natin binigay ang permission na yan, pinasa na natin yung GAA, pwede niya palang i-impound, i-redirect, pwede niya palang i-withhold without our permission na. Matapos niyang hingiin ang permission natin, pumayag na tayo, sige, gastusin mo na yan sa dito, dyan item na yan. In the end pala, pwede niya palang i-realign at i-reduce at i-impound na wala ng permiso sa atin. Hindi po ba mali naman po ata yun. At tayo naman dapat hindi naman natin pinagbabawal Ang sabi lang naman natin, pwede nyo pong gawin yan, pero bumalik kayo sa Kongreso para magpaalam na i-impound nyo o i-reduce nyo o i-withhold nyo ang budget. Hindi po ba tama yan na magpaalam siya dito?
Well, my own opinion, Mr. Speaker, is when we approve this budget, we might approve we approve giving the executive the
Power to
the
impound.
power to execute.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
In
and
fact,
if every time there is a change, you would come back to us. Then, considering the number of hours, the number of days, we know how the procedure here, first reading, second, third reading, it would take a long time.
so ang opinion ng
Mr.
OP,
Speaker.
medyo mali yung ganong proposed amendments.
I'm not saying it's good or bad, but of course, this is a collegial body, Mr. Speaker. This is decided by majority of the members, Mr. Speaker.
Can we go to the next slide, please? This is the last slides. Next slide, please. Whenever the President, the Secretary, proposes to defer the release of any appropriation, the President shall transmit to the House and the Senate a request for its approval. Hindi po ba tamang ilagay natin yan sa GAA na pag may proposal ang Presidente na i-defer ang pag-release ng any appropriation, dapat siya humingi ng approval sa House? Sa tingin niyo po ba, hindi po ba mas maganda na provision niya ng budget? Humingi siya ng permiso dito sa House kasi approve po ng House yan. Hindi po ba tama naman po yon?
Mr. Speaker, I believe that when the budget is approved by the House of Representatives and to the Senate, then after it becomes a GAA, we give the executive the power to execute it.
Salamat po. Alam niyo po ba kung saan ko kinuha ang provision na ito? This is an exact verbatim copying of a bill in the Senate filed by Senator Benigno Aquino in 2009. Ang posisyon ng Presidente ng 2009, hindi pwedeng mag-impound ang Presidente na gamitin ang presidential pork to favor allies and to withhold it from political opponents. Nagpalit na po ba ng posisyon ang Presidente ngayon na kung kay Arroyo pwedeng ilagayan pero sa kay Aquino hindi na pwedeng ilagayan? Yun po ba ang ating interpretasyon ngayon?
Mr. Speaker, as in the past, laws are approved by the House of Representatives and the Senate. It is for us to approve these provisions or not, Mr. Speaker.
And I am asking the OP po sana na kung ganun naman pala ang posisyon ng Presidente, the OP can also tell Congress, sige na, gustingin namin dapat lang magpaalam muna kami sa inyo bago namin i-withhold o i-modify o utusan kung paano gastusin ang isang special purpose fund, paano i-itemize, paano gawin yan. Yan lang naman po ang punto dito In any case, I am just disappointed that the very President who proposed that there is no impoundment on the GAA and who proposed that Congress should have the power over the purse, ngayon hindi na siya papayag na may similar provision sa GAA natin. Yun po ang sakit ng presidential pork. Yun po ang sakit ng napakalaking amount na ginagastos ng iisang tao, dinidesisyonan ng isang tao despite the deliberation and the collective and the collegial efforts of this Congress. Zero-based budget, ano ang ibig sabihin? Tanungin mo muna ang lahat ng communities, tanungin mo muna lahat ng LGUs, tanungin mo muna lahat ng ahensya, ano ba ang kailangan nyo? Marami po ang nag-uusap-usap sa budget. Pagdating dito, mag-uusap tayo, magdidebate tayo, Paano gastusin ang public funds? Marami tayong diskusyon saan gagastusin yan. In the very end, all our collegial deliberations, all our discussions, all our debates, nothing po yan. Kasi the President can realign, the President can disapprove, the President can approve, withhold, all these huge amounts po. Kung kaya, mahigpit talaga po ang aming panawagan sa kongresong ito. It's about time we take the power of the purse back dito sa kongresong ito. Huwag nating hayaan yung malalaking lump sum sa budget ng presidente. Huwag nating hayaan yung mga off-budget items katulad ng Malampaya Fund. Huwag nating hayaan na ang budget nating pinapasa dito, in the very end, presidente lang pala ang magdidesisyon kung saan pupunta. Yun lang po ang mensahe namin. Maraming salamat po sa my distinguished colleague at sa Office of the President. And I really hope that this Congress will make a historic decision and say, this time around, Congress will take back the power of the purse. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Honorable Colmenares has shielded the floor.